If you would like a step-by-step blueprint of how I made $30 million with my online business with no formal business education after delivering pizza for 7 years and literally starting with nothing more than a laptop, then that is what I'm going to cover step-by-step in this video. If you haven't heard of me, my name is Dan Henry and I am the co-founder of CloseDeals.com. I made $30 million selling sales and marketing education online, and now I give it all away for free on YouTube. And that is the subject of today's video, is how I plan to scale my new company to $1 million per month by giving everything away for free. Now, in order to understand how I'm going to do this, I first have to explain how we did the $30 million at my old company, GetClients.com, and how we did it at a very high profit margin because we only spent roughly $5 million in advertising costs to generate $30 million. And you'll see in this presentation exactly how that was possible. And I'm not saying that this is going to work for everyone. I'm not saying that it is the best or only way to build a business. I'm just saying that it made us $30 million, and I taught it to roughly 1,200 people that paid us anywhere from $10,000 to $55,000 to learn it. And it worked for them as well. And so now I'm going to share it with you for free on YouTube. So you definitely want to make sure that you subscribe if you want to see more videos like this and you want me to dive more into the specifics of how this was done. And you know, one of the reasons why I think it's important to break this down and show you how it was so profitable is because a lot of people start businesses and even online businesses, and they spend a lot of money to generate a lot of money. And so they're left with very little profit. In my first year in business, doing it this way, and it got more refined over time, I not only was able to generate a large amount of money, but I was able to keep a large amount of money. And I was able to up-level my life considerably, buying very nice real estate for myself. I bought my mother and father a house. There was a lot of luxuries I bought, like cars and yachts and things like that, which in retrospect, I don't think was the best business decision. I probably should have bought more real estate, but you know, you live and you learn. And now that I'm in my 30s, I think I can look back not only on what worked, but what didn't work and what I would have done differently, and sort of share that with younger entrepreneurs so you all don't make the same mistakes and waste your money on stuff that really is not going to bring you any happiness whatsoever, because all your happiness is actually completely controllable up here. All right, so this presentation is how I made $30 million step by step. What I'm about to show you worked for me, and it worked for a lot of people I taught it to. You can take from it what you will. You can take a little bit, you can take all of it, you can take none of it. But if it works for you, great. It did work for me. And again, I'm not saying that this is the best way to do things or the only way to do things. I'm just saying it made me $30 million and I started out a pizza boy. So moving on, I will put a couple caveats in here. I believe that this only works if, or at least works to its fullest capacity, if you have a product that solves a major and painful problem that a market is looking to solve. So for instance, let's say it's a business that is struggling to get traffic to their website. That's a major problem. Or let's say that there are new moms out there that gained weight after having a baby, and no matter what they do, they struggle to lose the weight. That's a major and painful problem. So maybe you have a product that's like a weight loss program, or it's a way to balance your hormones, post-birth or something like that. In other words, it solves a major problem. It's not like sunglasses or something, it solves a major problem. Next is your product is good and you care more about the quality of the product than just selling it. And so you can't just put out a bunch of good marketing or what you think is good marketing, sell it, and expect that word of mouth on how crappy your product is won't just completely crash it. It will, so make sure your product is good. That's a big one. As well, it does work best if you sell your product for a high ticket price. I did in the beginning essentially do what I'm about to show you with a $1,000 product, and I've seen people do it with $200 and $500 products, and it works really well. It made me 7 figures, but it worked a lot better when I learned to sell things for a higher price, like $5,000, $10,000, $25,000, even $55,000 and $100,000. Examples of this could be online courses, coaching and consulting. It could be agencies like web design agencies, graphic design agencies, SEO agencies, Facebook ad agencies. It could be professional services such as doctors or specialty doctors or lawyers or accountants. Events and masterminds like personal development conferences, business conferences, investment funds like raising money or creating an investment fund to buy real estate. It'll work for anything like that. To sum it up, you have a transformational product. In other words, it's not a commodity. It's not like orange juice or sunglasses. It is something that when someone uses your product, it solves a major problem and it in some way transforms or impacts their life in a notable major way moving forward. Okay, so before we get to the step by step, this is something that I believe is important to understand when building out any sort of marketing. And when I discovered this, it really, really helped me. And I do see a lot of people not taking into account the three buyers, or what I call the three buyers. And most people that I see, most internet marketers especially, what they do is they are only concerned with the now buyers. And they think that, you can create this marketing system that someone goes to the first step, then the second step, then the third step, then the fourth and the fifth, and then they become a buyer. And that is it. That is all there is. And you can create a money printing machine, send traffic to it, send leads to it, and print money on the other side, and that's your whole business. And unfortunately, I don't believe that is true. I believe that is just something that internet marketers will tell you so that they can sell you their little magic box system. And in reality, I believe that there's really three types of buyers. There's now buyers, there's soon buyers, and there's later buyers. And when you learn to address all three of these at the same time, you will make a lot more money, or at least I made a lot more money. And this did work for me and a lot of people I taught it to. So hopefully you get value out of it and it'll work for you. So let me go through this real quick and then we'll go to the step-by-step. So a now buyer is a customer that buys right away if it makes sense. And if it makes sense means you did your job, you had a good pitch, you have a great offer, and it makes sense for them to buy. They believe it'll solve their problem. Soon buyers are customers that will buy within days to weeks if it makes sense. Again, if it makes sense, meaning you did your job, they believe your product can solve their problem. And later buyers are customers that buy months to even years later if it makes sense. Now buyers will convert right away when going through your funnel. Soon buyers will convert after going through your funnel and being nurtured with additional content. So for instance, a now buyer will literally see an ad, they'll as an example here, they'll see an ad, they'll watch a case study, or case study as I put here with my misspellings, or like a webinar or something like that, and they'll immediately book a call and they'll immediately buy. These are very hyperactive buyers here. And then you will have soon buyers who will see an ad, watch a case study or a webinar, they don't book a call, but then they see an email or a retargeting ad or a social post. They feel more comfortable, they book a call and they buy, okay? And then you have later buyers that will do all of that, but they still won't be sold. And then later on, they have an aha moment, right? They have some sort of come to Jesus moment that gets them off the fence. Maybe you're closing down a program, or you're doing a one-time discount, or you're doing a virtual event where they can actually see you live, and they finally get to have a little bit more touch from you, and that puts them over the fence. I call this a fence shaker. Any sort of like one-time discount, promotion, or virtual event, or one-time live webinar, it shakes a bunch of people that are on the fence off and gets them to buy. And so what most internet marketers do is they concentrate only on now buyers, or even they concentrate only on now and soon buyers. They build out a sequence. Some don't even build out a nurture sequence. Some don't even address people after they don't buy initially. But most don't. The biggest mistake I see is most people don't go after later buyers. They assume that if they don't buy in the first 30 days, they're a lost cause, and that's just not true. So I'm going to show you how to address all three and how this made me roughly $30 million with only spending about $5 million in advertising. So this is what it's going to look like when it's all built out. But I'm going to go step by step through this, literally point by point, so you can really understand how this is done. So first, this is the main real strategy and main marketing system. It's a landing page that says, hey, I'm going to show you how to do this thing, or how we did this thing, or how you can solve this problem. which goes to another page, which I call core content. Core content could be something like a 10-minute video sales letter. It could be a 45 minute to 2 hour webinar where you really go through why investing in real estate is great, or why you need to approach weight loss this way, or what have you, right? And this core content, it could be a case study. It could be a case study of a result you got for one of your best clients. I think that is one of the easiest ways to make core content. And so that right there is the main thing that gets people to say, hey, this is cool. I'm interested in this person's brand. I'm interested in the way they can solve my problem. I might be a buyer. And so we then take them to an application to see if we're a fit to work together. We then go to a calendar so they can pick a time to speak to us. We then take them to a page where they can have some homework. Depending on what it is, you can give them some pre-call homework, some material to go through, what have you. And then our office will call them on the phone and make sure, like, hey, just wanted to confirm your call for Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Make sure they're a fit, and if they're not, then we would cancel the call and open up the calendar. And then, of course, we move to the call where the money is made. So this right here is the main way that we address now buyers. Now buyers will go through this, and they'll immediately book a call, and they'll buy. So the way we get traffic to this, the way that I did, was I would run cold ads on Facebook and YouTube and bring them into this system. And then, of course, warm ads would be ads where they already landed on the landing page, or they already went and signed up and gave us their email here, because they do sign up and give their name and email here to get to this page. And if they already did that, we'll send warm ads out that are additional answers to objections or questions they may have in short video form, or their customer testimonials, or their little tutorials, or what have you, to build trust and nurture them and get them to either go back and register to watch the core content. We might send them directly to the core content, or we might send them directly to the application. We've done it all different ways, all of the above. And then, of course, when they opt in, they do end up on our email list, so that we have the ability to continuously email to them and market to them once we've already paid for whatever we paid to get them on that list. And then next, there's the real thing that works here really well is we send out automated emails with nurture content. Now, nurture content for me is usually a video that addresses a major objection. And one way to get these objections, and I'll cover this in other videos, is as people sign up, I will send out a survey and ask them like what their biggest problems are, what their biggest questions are about whatever it is I'm teaching, and get a list of these questions, and then make videos for each one addressing them. And then I'll email those out on auto. The email will go to a page that has a video on it that answers their questions, and then that just points to the application. And this goes on for, I have a 30-day email sequence that converted at, depending on the month, roughly 2 to 4% for a $10,000 product. I'll be happy to go through that email sequence with you guys in another video. And then, of course, next you can also do emails we did emails that just had value directly in the email and went straight to the application. So again, this is what we did to address now buyers, and also with the nurture content to address soon buyers, because now buyers will buy immediately right here, and soon buyers will buy roughly within 30 days with this. And at least that is what we saw. And so next, we have social media. So what I did a little bit differently was, instead of trying to split my focus and grow my social media to get people into my funnel, and then also spend money on advertising to get people in my funnel, I did it a little backwards. I call this reverse organic. What I did was I just focused on getting new people into my world with cold ads that I pay for. And then for social, what happened is the first email they would get once they signed up and got into my world, I would say like, hey, listen, thank you for signing up to my email list. Thank you for signing up to see this webinar or whatever it is. By the way, I give tons of extra value on my Instagram, on my YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. Go follow me here, go subscribe, and you'll get a ton of extra value here, not just from these emails. So that would drive a lot of people to follow me on social. Plus, I'd set up warm ads where, I remember this one I had, it was an Instagram ad. I just took my phone and I was like, hey, this is Dan Henry. I noticed that you signed up to check out my stuff and you want to learn how to do XYZ. Swipe up and follow me on Instagram. I post daily value. And so I would run that, and I would get followers sometimes for 20 cents, 50 cents, sometimes even as high as $1, but still a follower that even cost $1 on social who, with that much intent, that's cheap. That's super cheap. So that's how I grew a lot of my social media. I did do some shout out stuff at one point, but it didn't really produce and like I thought it would. And so I just stuck to what you see here for the most part. And so then from social media, there's three main things I would do. I would do conversations where I would say, you know, hey, blah, 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 blah. Do you want to learn how to do this? Send me the word money, or send me the word weight loss, or send me the word whatever. I didn't sell a weight loss product, but you know what I'm saying. Send me this word and we'll have a conversation. And so I or members of my staff would have conversations with them and drive them to our core content or an application to book a call. And I would do the same things with stories. Sometimes I would say, hey, you know, go swipe up to book a call. And I would do the same thing with posts. And I say, hey, check out my bio. And this would all go back to an application. Or if I was promoting something else, it would go to promote that. And I'll show you that in a second. So next, and speaking of that, I wrote a book. And you don't have to write a book. You can do this with you can make a $7, $27, $37 mini course. You can do a PDF guide. I happen to write a book, which is actually this book right here, Digital Millionaire Secrets. And what I did with this is I wrote this book, and I really taught people the model of how to do what I do, which was, you know, how to sell information online, and really tried to give away the farm in this book as much as you can in a book. And the idea was that I would help people realize it was possible with this book, teach them some cool stuff, and then they would go and book a call and buy our higher end program after reading this book. And so what I did was I had the book, and then the first upsell, well, I had a bump here for the audiobook, which was I think $19 or something like that. But the second upsell, the first and second upsell were simply like, hey, do you want to solve this additional problem? Buy this thing. And it could have been $97, it could have been $297, $297, it could have been $47. I rotated, I tried different things, but ultimately the point here was that whatever problem I solved in these upsells was a problem that would get them over and off the fence to buy the main thing. So just to give you a theoretical example, let's say you were selling a coaching program on how to become a paid speaker. And one of your upsells was the big list of every company that hires speakers, 500 companies that hire speakers. So you give them this PDF of 500 companies and their contact information that hire speakers, right? And so they get this list for, say, $47 or $97. And then at the end of the PDF, you're like, hey, listen, now that you have all of these contact information and we've saved you all this time, do you want to learn how to call them up, how to pitch them, how to negotiate your price, how to get the most for your speech, how to get them to pay for your food and travel, and how to scale this to a 6 or 7 figure speaking business? And so, if so, book a call. And so these upsells would go to the application, and again, it all went towards the application. And then on the confirmation page, we would say, hey, thank you for buying the book. By the way, bam, we have this extra bonus training, and we would just give them our main core content there. And we'd embed it on the page or take them to another page with it or whatever. We did it a couple different ways. Ultimately, it all worked. It's more the main strategy that really worked, not necessarily what page was here or there, because we moved a lot of the stuff around. We tried putting the application page on the core content page, combining them. That worked. A lot of different stuff worked. But ultimately, this right here was how we made the bulk of the money. There's a million different ways to do this. This is just what worked for us. So the confirmation page, I had a bonus pitch. Hey, go watch this piece of core content. And that just fed them into this same linear sort of system here, back to the call. And then, again, we would promote the book with the email list, okay, that we already built. We'd promote it with the social media. And we'd promote it with ads. And now people had something fresh to consume from me. They went in, they bought the book, and all of a sudden, more people were buying the main offer. And then finally, this is for the later buyers. We would do virtual events, and virtual events would be anything from a 1-hour webinar all the way to a 5-day challenge where each day was a 2-hour live presentation, or maybe I did a 2-day event where each day was like 6 hours. We did a variety of different ways. And so the virtual event was basically teaching the same stuff. It was almost like I taught you what was in this book for 2 days or 5 days or what have you. And then I pitched an offer. And so the way we got people to the virtual event was, again, through our email list. All the people that were already on it, from people that bought the book or people that watched the core content initially, or what have you, we emailed them and say, come to this virtual event, get your ticket. It's $97, it's $47. There's a VIP upgrade for $297. And one thing we did there was really cool. We would say, hey, if you buy a general admission ticket, you get access to a Facebook group where we will stream the live event, but you don't get to ask questions. You pay $297, you get to come on Zoom, and you get to actually ask questions and interact. And so we would have usually about half the people buy the upgrade and half the people buy general admission. Of probably 70% of the people that bought the VIP, anywhere from 50 to 70% of the people that bought the VIP would end up buying the main offer, and then maybe like 20% of the general admission would buy the main offer. But they always did really well. In fact, that's how I did my first $1 million day, and subsequently other $1 million days, $500,000 days, et cetera, all on this virtual event. And so we would promote it with the email list. Also, we promote it with social. We promote it with ads. And again, you see how this ecosystem all works together, all from this first cold ad. Because these warm ads here are very cheap when people are already in your ecosystem. They're already familiar with your brand. So and this is, again, the mistake a lot of people, I believe, make, is they'll pay $20 sometimes, some crazy amount for a lead, and they'll say, oh my gosh, I paid $20 for a lead. They went through this process here, and they didn't buy. Oh, I lost money on ads. But the truth is, and this is, again, how we turned $5 million into $30 million, is we didn't stop there. We had all this stuff set up so that even if they didn't buy right away, they might buy a month later, 2 months later, 6 months later, whatever. And when it all really came in the grand scheme of things, we had a lot of revenue on very little spend because it all compounded. In fact, one time we got our ad account shut down for an entire month, and we still made like over $500,000, and it was all profit because it was just from emailing and social posts. So anyway, moving on. These virtual events, usually we would sell directly on the event, or it would go to a call where we sold some sort of offer. It was either our main offer or a different offer, or we would have multiple offers, etc. So in terms of offers, like what we sold, this was really the majority of it, 99% of it. If there was something else I sold, I don't remember what it was. But we started with, a free webinar or case study. Again, a webinar meaning I taught some cool stuff for 1 to 2 hours and then pitched them on a product to help implement that. So I would give away really good free advice, and then I'd say, hey, do you need help with the implementation? Go buy my stuff, sign up for our coaching program, whatever. Or I would do a case study where I just interviewed a client that, again, got their problem solved, and we got them the result, and I said, hey, would you like to get the same result, book a call, and we'll see if we can work together. And that was really this whole thing right here, this system right here, okay? And then the $7 book was free book, but we would charge $7 to $10 for shipping. I think at one point we upped it to $10 or $20 international, and that is this right here. And then of course you had some upsells. And the real idea behind this book was that whatever we spent on ads, we would break even on. And so anybody that bought the $10,000 program was pure profit. And it did work out that way. We spent, we would spend maybe $5,000 on ads for the book. We'd make, $4,700, $5,200, whatever. So we broke even, and then people would go through this and buy the main offer. And the main offer was a $10,000 coaching program with a little bit of done-for-you worked in with there. And again, that was sold through this process right here, which started with the webinar or case study or a video sales letter sometimes we did, and as well as them buying the book, reading the book, and then buying the main program. Then when we did virtual events, I found that if I brought all these people who had already been through this whole system here onto a virtual event where they got to hear me speak for 5 days, it was extraordinarily easy to sell them the $10,000 program. And so we'd bring all these people on, and we'd make like $300,000 in revenue in a day, and that was cool, but it seemed to me like people would buy higher end stuff. So that's where we started introducing things like the $20,000 boot camp, where it was a 12-week program. I would jump on for a 1 to 2 hour call once a week, answer their questions, give them some curriculum, work with them, be like, hey, listen, no, you should do this, move this here. This is where, you might be losing your prospects, or just really like working with them as a coach and helping them implement. And so we sold that. As well as sometimes I would sell a $25,000 day with Dan, which is a one-on-one day with me. I don't do those anymore. Most of those I actually sold over conversation on social media. I didn't even have to really advertise for that. The $55,000 mastermind, that was huge. At one point we had almost 100 people in that. And again, we sold most of those over the virtual event. So we would do, the best way that I ever did it was we would sell a $20,000 boot camp, or we would sell a $55,000 mastermind. They would have the choice. And what's funny is I thought the first time we did this, I thought that most people would buy the $20,000 boot camp, and then a few people would buy the $55,000 mastermind. But what ended up happening is the majority of the people bought the $55,000 mastermind. Like literally like maybe 15 people would buy that, and then maybe 10 people would buy the boot camp. And so that was quite shocking to me, that, my idea was like, hey, let me sell something more than 10,000, so I'll do 20, and then, just in case people want the mastermind. But it ended up working where people went straight for the mastermind. And a mentor and really good friend of mine, Myron Golden, was very instrumental in helping me understand when you're a good speaker and you learn how to speak from stage, just how high of a price you can charge, and people will gladly pay it to experience that. Again, if it's a good offer, the product is good, and you're really going to help people, and they're really certain that you can help them solve the problem. So anyway, the $55,000 mastermind was fantastic, because all I really had to do was, every couple of months I did a meeting with them. We all got together and we networked, and I helped them solve problems in their business. I would do weekly calls on Zoom, help them solve problems in their business. And it really helped because I was able to look directly at their business, help them. And we helped a lot of businesses grow, some of them to even 7-figure months. And that $55,000 mastermind produced a ton of pure profit revenue for the company, because most of the money we spent on advertising and on all these efforts was to sell the $10,000 coaching program. So when we got people to the virtual event, they were already on our list, they were already warm, they were already paid for. And so when 20 or 30 people at once, or even 10 people at once, would buy the $55,000 mastermind, it was pure profit. It was just my time to work with them. And then finally, and I only sold a handful of these, $100,000 personal coaching. And again, I sold this mainly over social media, just in my $55,000 mastermind would mention it, and people would buy it. So that right there is really the whole kit and caboodle. And obviously in future videos, I'm going to deep dive into the million different categories and nuances of how this was all done, and creating offers and all that. But before I get into that, let's move on to the new plan, okay? So that was the old one. That's how I made $30 million, my team and I, and I couldn't have done it without my team at GetClients.com. Couldn't have done it by myself. I made the first million by myself, but then I needed a team. And they were very helpful and instrumental and critical to this whole thing that you see here happening. So here's how I plan to scale to 1 million a month, basically doing the opposite of what you see here. And it looks like this. I'm going to give everything away for free. Everything that you just saw, all the products that you just saw in that previous slide, all the offers you just saw, how to do it, all that stuff. I'm going to break it down, film new videos, fresh updated videos. I'm going to give it all away for free, slowly but surely, on YouTube and other social media platforms. I'm going to give away guides, tutorials, quick reference, cheat sheets, everything that I would create and give away in my $10,000 and $55,000 programs. I'm going to give it away for free. There's going to be a very simple application on closedeals.com, and then you get on a call, and that's it. So the old way that made 30 million and my theoretical new way to grow to 1 million a month, and then maybe 2 and 3 million, and get $100 million valuation of the company. Will it work? I don't know. Stick around and find out. I just know that this worked, but you know that old saying, what gets you here won't necessarily get you there. Now, again, this worked for me. This worked for a lot of people I taught it to. Will it work for you? I don't know. Do I think that it is the best way to do things? Probably not. Do I think that it is the only way to do things? Definitely not. But if you got value out of this and you can use this or parts of it to help grow your company, by all means do it. And I'll keep releasing videos and guides, including a guide for this video so that you can implement it as easy as possible. And again, this is the new way. Now, one more thing I'll cover is why. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this instead of this? Well, the why is several points. Number one, at closedeals.com, me and my partner, Phil Bohol, we want to help online businesses with 90% of the game, so they will work with us on the remaining 10%. The bottom line is you need to be able to create an amazing product and an amazing offer. You need to be able to market that, build an audience, articulate your offer to the market, all this stuff to get potential leads, potential deals on your plate. But then you need to close your deals. You need to be able to take what you generated from 90% of the game and with the remaining 10% close those deals. And so we want to help you with 90% of the game, again, so that we can help you with the remaining 10, and that is closing those deals. Also, I want to leave a legacy, not just a bank account. So when I die, I don't want people to just say, oh, he made money, he built a company. I want them to say he put stuff out there that really helped people in a big way, and he didn't have to charge each and every single person for it. I just want to leave an impact. You know, I've already got to a point where, me personally, I've built my life and my family's life to a level in which we are extremely comfortable and will be for probably the remainder of our lives. And so now I'm a little bit more focused on impact and legacy. Also, I want to help people that can't afford it otherwise. There's a lot of people out there that can build amazing businesses, but they can't afford it. And just to give you an idea, my partner at closedeals.com, Phil Bohol, he's a co-founder. He was actually one of the people that invested in my $100,000 personal coaching. And through that, I decided that he was an amazing dude, and I wanted to start a company with him. But the way that he got the $100,000 is the first time I ever did this. He messaged me on Instagram and he said, I really want this. I really, really want this, you know, but I don't have the money. If you could just give me any advice on how to generate the money, I will give it right over to you. I'll wire you $100,000. I just got to go make it first. And I never really did this before, but there was something about Phil that just really hit me. And so and I still have the original voice messages. Maybe I'll release them on YouTube one day. But I literally told him over voice message on Instagram, go do this thing, create a virtual event, say this, say that, go do this, and ask for this amount, do it. And he went and he did it, and he made the money, and he wired me $100,000. I mean, it was insane that somebody that didn't pay me for that advice, that I gave it to for free, went out and implemented it, and then made the money needed and wired it over. And I thought that was amazing, and it really shifted my perspective. I know I've always said that, you know, people that pay attention, but at the end of the day, I think my opinion on this has changed in that I believe that there are simply people that will pay attention and people that won't, regardless of how much they pay. And so if you're the type of person that maybe you can't afford this information, but you will pay attention regardless, well, I want to help you because when I helped Phil, this whole new thing and new company came of it, and it's been a wild journey, and it really reframed my brain on giving things away for free. And finally, I want the industry to level up. I've seen way too many courses and programs out there by people who honestly don't know what they're doing, or they'll buy a course from someone and they'll make a watered down version of it, or they'll put out this fancy marketing and show off their cars, or they'll stand in front of cars or whatever, and then they'll sell a mediocre product. So my thought is, listen, you don't really have to buy those gurus' stuff anymore, because I'm going to give it to you. At least I'm going to give what I know away for free on YouTube. And so if you don't want to have to invest in that, you can just subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll teach you how to do it for free. You don't have to pay $5,000 or $10,000 to somebody else. And in my opinion, that's going to make everybody in the game level up to, well, maybe not everybody, because I don't think everybody knows who I am. That's pretentious. But it's going to make at least a chunk of people level up, and hopefully that'll inspire other people to, again, put some of their best stuff out there for free. And then that overall in the industry might help people level up. And I've seen a lot of people do this, like Alex Hormozi and others, really put their best stuff out there forward and for free. And that's inspired me. And so I'm not the one that started this. I just think I'm in the chain, and I hope the chain keeps going so that we can really level up the game. That said, if you would like to get all of my shit for free, all of the stuff that I made $30 million selling, you want it for free, and you want to learn how I do this and how I do future things without me charging you, well, then all you really have to do is subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you'll get it for free. So that said, I'll see you in the next video. And if you have any requests, make sure to leave them in the comments. And finally, if you do get value out of this and it really helps you and you want to say thank you, really the only thing that I request is you tell people about the channel, you refer people. Word of mouth is my favorite thing. That is really the way that you can become a valued and loyal member of Closed Nation, is just to tell people about it. And of course, enjoy the content. That is all that I ask. So thank you, Closed Nation, and I'll see you in the next video.